What's up, people? I am Marquita Hudgens, and welcome to at Voice Gigs. You can follow me on all platforms using that handle. Also, this is the Voice Behind the Voice podcast, where I basically just help you to hear your inner voice and learn um, what your full potential is and do different things to make sure that you are not tainting your full potential, but going at it purely, authentically, and um, in an unadulterated fashion. So today it's episode 26, and I am talking about drawing your own boundaries. So I've been talking about first self actualization, which is realizing your full potential, and then establishing self protocol so that you can get to a point where you know what you want and you know how you're going to get it, and you're not going to let anybody come and tell you that what you want isn't what you want, or make you feel like what you want isn't valid, or isn't worth having. So we are setting the self protocol, and I've already talked about committing to a set of values, which and the set of values is going to come from your authentic person. So it's your own set of values, and then also setting your own standards, which are the standards because you are you're a human being, and you deserve to be treated in such a way, and you deserve to be the person who sets that, the quality of how you should be treated. You're the only person who can say, I need to be treated like this. And that's something that is not normalized because we grow up only knowing what our parents teach us. And then as we become adults, we start to learn that what our parents taught us isn't always right. And no disrespect to the parents, I know that when my children become adults, they're going to have to put away the childish things. And sometimes the childish things include some of the things that some of the values and standards that I raised them according to. So we went through the standards on the last episode, and now we are at drawing boundaries. Boundaries are okay. So a boundary is a line of limitation. It's a sphere in which um, you can like limit activity. So if I have a boundary, then that's my thing. It's my thing that I have decided I don't want anyone to do this to me or to treat me this way. And it could be simple, simple, harmless. It could be as harmless as toothpaste. I don't like to share toothpaste. I know that for me personally, I believe that sharing toothpaste is just like sharing a toothbrush, which I don't do. This toothpaste, um, everybody, when they put toothpaste on the toothbrush, they rub the toothpaste on the toothbrush. And for me, I'm like, I don't want your germs. I don't. So everybody in my family has their own toothpaste. I've always been that way, even since before when me and my husband were dating. I would always bring my own toothpaste. And I remember one time, just a few years ago, we were actually married at this time. I had bought a new toothpaste. It was like a new cinnamon toothpaste, and I couldn't wait to try it. And I went to go use it, and he had already used it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy a new cinnamon toothpaste. That is just how I am. I do not share toothpaste. That's my boundary. And I know for some people, it could be a very simple, menial, pointless thing, but that's how boundaries are sometimes. Sometimes somebody will set a boundary, and you'll be like, that's dumb though. And but we're gonna get to respect later, but You just have to respect it because it's their boundary, and we want to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. So we want to respect other people's boundaries. But no one can really respect your boundaries if you don't have any. And you can have them, but nobody's going to respect them if they don't know that they're there. So it is very important to draw the boundaries, and to draw is to formulate a perception. Formulate. Sorry, I'm leaving out a small word. Okay, yeah, to formulate or perceive. So you are creating this line out of your perception. So if I say, okay, let's I'll talk about my dad. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna talk about every just about every homeowner that I've ever lived with in this episode, because I feel that it is important. Now I feel like it is important. I don't see myself ever living with a homeowner that is not myself or my husband from this point on in my life. This is my last. I pray to God, this is my last go with a homeowner. Um, um, and I'll tell you probably if when I get my FDI podcast started, I will definitely be talking about home ownership way more in my FDI podcast, and why you shouldn't just own your home, but how while you're all doing it wrong. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there because I ain't got my own home anyway, so I ain't ready to talk about that. Anyways, I will be talking about all of those situations, not all of them, but I will be talking about situations in which I should have had a contract. And that's the ultimate way to draw a boundary is to get a contract. Um, Now, I may talk a little bit about narcissistic behaviors. Um, if you are a narcissist, the idea of having a contract is a terrible idea, because what you like to do is do and say things now today, and then turn around. You want to do and say those things, and then you're going to go against those things that you've said and did, and then you're going to turn all the way around and make it seem like somebody else broke those rules when it was you. And then you're going to act like somehow you have saved the day and made everything okay, when you are in fact the one who wrote and broke the laws. And that's why it's good to have a contract, because sometimes you will run into narcissistic people and you don't know that they're narcissistic, and sometimes until you get in their house. And I'll just get this out of the way. One way to know that you're dealing with a narcissist is they like to be the suspect, the superhero, and the victim. The villain, the superhero, and the victim. So if you have noticed that there's somebody in your life who has a pattern of always like ruining a situation, ruining a good thing, and then always turning around and telling you, it was your fault, you did it to them, woe is me, you did it to me, um, you're the one who was wrong, and then also who go around to other people and make it seem like you were the bad guy, um, and they were the ones who were wrong. I believe that that is the perfect example of a perfect short example of what a narcissist is. And you definitely want to make sure that if you're getting into a situation with anybody, just for the simple fact that they might be narcissists, and they might greenlight that whole situation. They might turn around and try to make it seem like everything that you're saying, when you know that was your experience, they will turn around and try to make it seem like everything you said is a lie and is not true, and you just made it up. Or they will make things up and try to make you feel like, oh, you have amnesia, you don't remember that. Narcissist. And you be knowing, because it's like, I went through that. I have document. That's why it's good to have document. It's good to have a contract. um, That's why people, when people get married, they have vows, and and there is a witness, because you could turn around and be like, "Oh, I didn't mean to marry you, but sorry, you did." Um, and that's why I'm just saying it's good to have a contract. That's just what I'm saying. That is my whole point for this whole video. Is it's good to lay down your boundaries, draw them out, get them in writing. If it has to do with money, get it in writing or have a recorded conversation or something. Anything that has to do with money, yes, that does mean kids. If there's a situation where somebody's watching your kids, or if there's a bartering situation, like I give somebody a massage and they give me something in return, I feel like there definitely needs to be a contract, something in writing saying this, so that you can say, this is what you said. Remember? Um, but it's better. It's better that I went through it now and not went off the cuff with it later. So, I mean, better that I went off the cuff with it now and not off the cuff with it later. Um, but that's just it's gonna make this whole video easier. Trust me, I already got the narcissist thing out of the way. So when you set a boundary, I mean, when you draw a boundary, I'm gonna keep saying set. I'm sorry, but I'm deliberately making it draw because I want you to understand that you are formulating. Um, like when we did I used set for standards. I chose to use set for standards specifically because set is when you set something in place and it thrives there. It brings action comes from it. When you set something in place, it has a purpose. When you draw something, you are you're making it known. You um, you are. I'm trying to find another way to say it, but you're making it known. You're formulating it. You're not just putting it there and it happens. Like when you draw it, sometimes you need to draw a little deeper. Sometimes you need to draw it a little darker. That line, sometimes the line can be not, not as visible as you think it is. So thankfully, I'm done with the definitions. Now, the why is more of today. I'm not really going to tell you why you should draw boundaries. I feel like I'm already done telling you why, but um, I want to assure you that it's okay. Um, and this is why I'm so heavy on the narcissist thing, because people in your life will try to make you feel like you having boundaries for yourself is not valid, and try to make you feel, because it's the same people who have a problem with your boundaries and get you to dumb yourself down or compromise are the same people who are going to just ransack your life, and you're going to be like, dang, I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have made sure of this. I wish I wouldn't have done this. And I had lived with a woman. I was renting a room from her. Very nice lady. I mean, to this day, she's very nice to us. My kids miss her. She misses us. So it's not a bad situation, but there were situations where I felt that my boundaries um, had been crossed, but I didn't draw the boundaries. And towards the very, very end of the situation, I had definitely crossed some boundaries that she had already drawn. And so the reason why I wasn't drawing these boundaries with her is because I felt that when she asked, "Is it okay? This, and that," my initial thought was like, "Be cool. You're only gonna be here for a little while. Um, you don't want her to feel like you're just gonna have a problem with everything, because then she's not gonna want you to be there." So I was like from the beginning, I was just like, okay, cool, whatever, cool, whatever, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then towards the end, I had crossed the boundary, and then I was wrong because not only because I crossed the boundary, but because I then started to think of all the boundaries that had been crossed for me, but I never drew them, and I had the nerve to be mad, like this happened for real, but I didn't have any. I had no right to be mad, and the thing, like one thing about the way that it ended is that for her, the way that she felt was the best way to go about the situation was not wrong, but it got to me because it had been done before in a situation where it was wrong. And for that, I believe in that situation where it had been done wrong, I believe totally that not only were boundaries that I drew crossed, like I specifically said, please don't touch my stuff. I will come get my stuff, right? My stuff was touched. Um, definitely throughout the whole situation, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm talking about living with my in-laws. It was just a situation where I was saying, because this was the second time, my second time living with them, and it ended the same exact way. I mean, to the T, it ended the same way. Um, Except this time, um, instead of going back to live with my family, I stayed with family here and there, but I bounced. Like I went to the other side of the country. And that situation also was a situation where some boundaries were drawn, and um, not necessarily drawn, but I'll say boundaries were discussed. And we weren't both totally honest going into the situation. So by the time that situation was over, it was like, well, I'm good, bye. And the situation with my in laws, it was kind of like I went into it the second time saying, okay, so what if this? And specifically, somebody told me it's not going to be like that this time, it's going to be different. And it still ended up being the same way. So, um, it's very important to get a contract. I will say that because there, for both situations, in the beginning, when I rented the room in Moreno Valley, um, she said, um, she said, don't. I should have done a contract. Sorry. And I was like, like why should you do a contract? Now I know because, I'm not sure how the contract would have fared because I moved in with her like 2 weeks before COVID had taken complete effect. And I'm grateful that me and my children had a place to stay. Like, we're able to sit in one place for that first, for the beginning of that. But, um, but it just did not go. I feel like it just did not go. Like, things kept happening, and I was like, no, what? Now this. But it was stuff that it was never really discussed. And then some of the things were things that were out of everybody's hands, things that just had to happen because of COVID-19. And eventually I was just like, you know what, let me see what's going on in Vegas. Because if I can just go to Vegas, I'm good. Like, I can, I'm good if I could just go to Vegas. And so that's what I did. But that was good, but we still should have had a contract. And um, I can't see myself ever living with my in-laws. Like, even when I go to their house, like the last few times I went to their house, I was like, I'm good. I'll stay in the car. I'm good. I'm good out here. I'll wait. You guys go handle your family business, and I'll be in the car. But eventually, of course, I become, I'm the one who's wrong. I'm the one who is the bad one, right? Because I don't want to be social. But let me tell you something about myself. My mom's been calling me antisocial my whole life. So please don't ever get offended if I don't talk to you. It's because I don't want to, boo boo. And I do not. Being forced to speak to people makes me want to speak to them less. So I am definitely like open to the idea of never going to my in-laws house again. Um, when my husband and I do finally get our stuff together and we're in a situation where we have a place, if they're invited over, I'm not the one inviting. My heart, my mouth might be the one inviting, but my heart is not. And you guys can say that's fake or whatever, but I just wanted to let you know now, let the world know that I'm not with it. I'm not. I I deal with a special brand of people from now on. And it's people who are honest, and it's people who are not shady, and people who I'm not gonna go I'm not gonna go too deep and out there, but but I do I have no hard feelings about that. I'm a Christian woman. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, but I know that Jesus also turned some tables because people were doing the house of the Lord wrong. And I believe that I am a temple of the Holy Ghost. And I'm not going to keep letting people in to do me wrong. I'm just not. Like, the tables have been turned, and I'm good on y'all. So, here I am at the end. So I want you guys to know that it's okay. It's okay. It's something that I struggle with a lot. With drawing boundaries, even being here in my dad's house, like, he's very quick to say what he likes and what he doesn't like, and this is my house, and what goes on, what I want to go on in my house, and however he says it every time, all the time. It's a sad because the amount of times that he says it, I still can't even play it back because it's like, all right, okay, but these are my kids. So, okay, so how do you go about drawing these boundaries? Simple. Know your worth. I have a video on self-respect. Um, know your worth. Know what makes you tick. You can also go to the self-awareness video. Know what makes you tick, and it's simply because you you can't just walk around setting boundaries that are drawing boundaries, just like with setting standards. You can't go around drawing boundaries that you think people will adapt to and accept. You have to draw these boundaries based on what you're worth, and what makes you go, what makes you angry, what makes you happy, um, and you have to be vocal about this, because if you don't draw these boundaries, then people will continue to step over the boundary, and you're just going to be like, like, and you can't it's hard to say something after the fact. Like, you have to just be bold enough no matter what. Like, I really felt like, um excuse me, when I was renting the room, I really felt like, I just don't want to mess this up. So with the way that things were happening, and things were happening so quickly, I was just like, I could, man, like, I don't want to go into detail, but um I mean, there was okay, so let me just say there was a situation. Um and the situation is a person. There was a situation that continued to come around, And I mean, when I say I was insulted, um, I was like, it was like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do to deserve to know this person? Like, I was insulted. My career was insulted. And when I mentioned it to her that my whole career, she was like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, so it's okay. It's okay. So let's all come around and just insult your career. Um, so it was just so many things like I know that this person took something from me, and even though it was a little thing, the fact that it was taken and then nobody knew where it went, and then just before I left, it had popped up. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like it. I'm out. I'm definitely out. Definitely gone, and I hope I don't have to come back. I don't. Well, I won't. I won't come back. I can definitely do my best to make sure that I don't come back to this situation. Sorry, I needed to drink some water. So, anyways, I just want to let you know that it is okay to draw boundaries. It's okay to formulate these lines from your perception, and to make sure that certain activity is not done around you. Um, I'm definitely man. I'm just thinking about so many different things that like are gonna be done differently. When I do go back to California, yeah, I'm going back to California. When I do go back to California, there's so many things that are going to be done differently, um, especially with my marriage, which is going well. But that's another thing. Like I'll talk about it. I think I'll talk about it in the next episode. I'll talk about I'm talking about communicating your limitations and expectations. And one thing definitely, with the boundaries, I definitely have to work on making sure um, that I tell people face to face. Like there's some people that just can't ask about my marriage anymore. You're not allowed to ask about my marriage anymore. Don't ask me. Don't ask him. Just don't. Just don't. But yeah. So here we are at the end. Again, my name is Marquita Hudgens, and yep, I've given too much information, I'm sure. Um, just go ahead, if you liked it, let me know. If you're gonna be coming around, hit subscribe so I know that you're coming back. And definitely, if you are listening to this from anchor.fm/voice gigs, please hit the support button, to make sure that you sign up as a monthly donor to this community. I definitely want to see this community grow. I definitely want to help as many people as I can by using my story and my past situations. And also, let me do this right. Uh, here, you could click here to subscribe. You could click up here to listen to the rest of the Voice Behind the Voice podcast. And right here is a video that YouTube thinks is best for you. So go ahead and get clicking, and I will see you guys next time.